Let's bring you this now. Wage negotiations kick off today at Eskom. Today, Numsa and Solidarity have all officially now submitted their list of demands. Among NUM's demands are a 15% wage hike, a 7,000 rand housing allowance and study benefits. But Olehile Kgware from the union joins us now to take this discussion even forward. And thank you so much for your time, Olehile. Good morning to you. I think before we get into the list of demands, let's talk about the plight of the workers. What exactly are they going through right now, financially, working conditions? Because that, I assume, informed this wage, talks and negotiations at this stage.
Yes, you are correct. Good morning to you and your listeners and viewers. Look, our workers are not immune from the national state of affairs. It is a given fact that workers today in our country and all over across the world are experiencing challenges, particularly when there are economic crises. Because workers are expected to be the ones who fit the bill on the challenges. So yes, indeed, we are, because of the rising challenges in our economy, we are forced to meet up with the challenges and make sure that livelihood of workers is retained.
With that being said, let's talk about the list of demands then. What have you tabled in terms of what you think can assist workers? What exactly then are your demands to Eskom?
Yes, look, the 15% salary increase will be able to continue to put bread on the table and make sure that livelihood of employees and workers or non-members at Eskom is sustained. There are quite a number of factors that talk to that. We've got kids to take care of, we've got families to take care of, and that will be going there. And of course, some bonuses are merely for gadgets, like your car allowance. The cars at Eskom are used to do Eskom work. Telephone allowance, the telephones, cell phones at Eskom are used to do Eskom work. So it is primarily here to make sure that they continue to do that, because the same amount workers at Eskom or employees were given at Eskom years back is still the amount today. But the hikes are high, housing allowance. Today, the bond we're paying 2-3 years back or last year is not the amount of bond you're paying this year. So that's basically where we're going to say we need to keep up with the rising prices in our markets because of challenges in the economy. And workers are not responsible.
Olehile, I want to also touch on a furthermore once-off 1.5 essential worker or danger allowance, as well as a separate voltage work allowance, I understand, on a sliding scale. Inform us of this particular demand, because from my understanding, limited understanding, a danger allowance, I suppose that's more of a protection allowance based on the nature of the work of the workers. Perhaps you can further elaborate clearly what this list of demands means and what it's attributed to.
Yes, look, danger allowance talks to, it's not all employees at Eskom that are going to be talking to this particular danger allowance, but there are those workers whom his life is constantly exposed to danger.
Right.
You've got technicians, people who are working on the lifelines of the energy lines in the country. Those are the people that we say must be considered, and they make a certain percentage. It's not completely all workers or all employees at Eskom.
And with that being said, will this be the beginning of wage negotiations? Have you tried to engage with Eskom before? Is this more of a follow-up? Where can you tell us in terms of where you are in terms of these wage talks now with Eskom?
Look, we tabled the wages because there was an annual agreement that is to lapse now. Now we started the engagement. We just tabled the demands. And we are going to start engaging now at 9 o'clock, and negotiations will be starting. Our expectation is that Eskom will come to the party and respond to the demands. And we'll take it from there. Remember, negotiations is a process. and it's a process of persuasions in good faith.
Also, speaking of, how unions felt before, I mean, they've been calling for Andre de Ruyter to be removed, for him to leave, vacate his position as the CEO. Now that he's gone and we do have a Minister of Electricity, yet we still see these blackouts. Where do you stand now? Where are your perceptions when you think of the work, or at least the efforts of the Minister of Electricity now, since Andre de Ruyter has left, but still seeing these blackouts? What do you make of them?
Look, there are a few things that we can mention. That there's good thing in what the Minister of Electricity is coming up with in few days in his office. First is to make sure that we utilize the available power stations and make sure that they are sustained. We closed some power stations. We spent billions to build power stations like Kusile and Medupi, and we allowed those power stations to close. So I think that the good thing about the minister is to acknowledge that we need to sustain livelihood of our power stations, and we really need to continue to use coal as our means.
All right. Well, as you continue, of course, those wage talks, as you mentioned, in good faith, we'll be keeping an eye on them, and hopefully we'll have you back as unions just to give us feedback in terms of how they've been going so far. National Education Chairperson Olehile Kgware, thank you so much for your time this morning.